Alrighty, well, I've had a couple people ask me to make this video, so I'm going to do it. So what I've got is I think it's a 2007 Trailblazer that I used for the donor for this 49 Chevy with the 4.2 in it. Could have been an 8, I don't know. Anyway, I just took the entire body control module, rear fuse panel, all the harness from the truck, everything, all the way to the tail lights. And everything on this car, the dome light, the horn, everything runs through the BCM. And the only problem is that on the Trailblazer they put the rear fuse panel under the rear passenger seat, which in this car there is just no room to make that happen. And I want to put my rear seat back in. It's bad enough I have to modify it to fit over all this that I did for the air ride. So I need to move it to the trunk, so I need about 3 feet. So I found another 2008 Trailblazer LT, the same model and everything, pretty much the same options, but as it turns out there are a few missing pins in this new harness. So I'll have to pop the pins out of the old plug, put them into here, and then just make some wire for it. But I've got about close to 4 feet here. And my plan is, once this is extended, you've got the plug to the rear fuse panel, and then you're going to have your 2 connectors for the BCM that are laying here, some they were under there. So I've also got to extend all these wires, so another 30 wires or so probably there. I think I counted about 80 something wires. Have to extend the battery cable that goes to the rear fuse block as well, and I have that. And then I will need to extend the harnesses that go to the doors for the power door locks. And I think there's a harness I have going up front for powering the air conditioning and things like that. So I'm gonna have to extend, well, no, actually I think those run through that front harness. But in any case, I got the entire harness out of the Trailblazer. So what I'm gonna have to do is, I've got these 2 plugs here, I've matched them up, I've figured out which wires are missing. It's just maybe like 3, and I've already figured out how to take those pins out. So what I'm going to do now is start in the same corner of both, take the source wire, so the first one, because you see the splits, the one that goes this way is not used, so I only need one of these. So I'll cut this wire, and then I will match this wire from, which is right here. I'll go all the way to the end of this 4-foot extra harness, find the matching orange wire, and I will solder it to this wire, heat shrink it, and then we'll go to the next wire that is used, which is this blue one, which will go to the end of this blue that goes all the way down this harness, and so on until the connector is complete. Once that's done, I'll hook everything back up and make sure that it works before I start on the BCM wiring. That way if I get any surprises, I'll know it's somewhere in the BCM wiring. Alright, I'll update you guys later. Well, it's the next day, and I've got quite a bit done. The main harness ended here, so I cut off the plug wire by wire. There's the old one there. Do 1 wire at a time, coming off the original plug, and then I would take and find the same wire and pin location from this, follow the wire all the way up, and connect it here. So there's the completed harness with about a 3.5, 4 foot extension there. And then for the power feed to the rear fuse panel, what I did was took lugs, crimp lugs, and kind of like these, but brass or whatever it is, copper, and bolted them together, and then I taped them. Then I put this hard wire loom over it and then taped all that, so no chance of that ever touching anything and shorting out. And that will be riding basically right in this area here on the quarter panel, going up and over the wheel well. So now we are at the body control module. By the way, I hooked everything back up last night, tested all this, everything works, car runs, took it back apart. Now we're doing the BCM. So I'm about halfway through now of the BCM, and you can see how I'm going wire by wire. So basically I'm taking the new plug, which is right here, and I have it in the same position, so the same wire. See the tan and the tan right there, and then it goes to black, then it goes green, red. So I do one at a time. I'll find it, I'll cut it here, then I'll find it here, and I'll take the wire and I run it all the way separate, all the way down from the old wires to keep them all nice and neat, and run it all the way over here, and I have those pulled out and separate from the other wires as well. So when we're all done, we'll throw some tape around it to kind of neaten it up, and we'll be good. We'll start on the last one. This is actually smaller. Once that's done, the BCM and fuse panel can go in the trunk and the car will run and drive. Hopefully today. All right, well, it's Thanksgiving evening and I'm very happy to report that the car starts up. The horn blows, the signals work, everything that's supposed to work is working. So just a quick walkthrough of the 4200. I'm real happy with the way things are looking under the hood. It's very factory-like. I think there might be a cover that goes on this piece right here, or I'll put a black loom on it so that red cable doesn't stand out. Got a few extra wires I've added in here for the fan controller, so those need to be loomed. The situation with this car is it just works. You know, I got it together. I figured I'd do a quick test drive with it. It drove great, and then I drove it the next day and I kept driving it and kind of stopped working on it. But I'm really happy with this. Unfortunately, I haven't hooked the light back up. That's what's hanging right here. I got to lengthen this one wire, but just look at that. I mean, I had boxes and just wires and the BCM rear fuse panel, all kinds of stuff back here for the last 2 or 3 years this car's been running. And it's finally getting down to time that we start working on trying to get the seat to fit. And up front, I'm going to have to deal with these wires because I've got this fancy gauge cluster that has a separate controller. And I've got a leak in the windshield. So I'm going to have to probably pull the windshield back out and redo the seals on it. But when I get the headliner put in, they want to pull the windshield anyway. So I might just do that and get the headliner done. And they can take care of the windshield and be responsible for it. But best thing about it, we're up and running. She's ready to drive. I'm just completely, absolutely elated at that site right there of not seeing the wire mess that I had. It's all tucked into the rear quarter. Now there is a mess back here, I won't lie. We've got to deal with this. I've got to mount this. These are door wiring harnesses, so those are all going to be loomed and ran up front. And I think I'm going to shorten the taillight harness because some of this is the taillight harness. Might be able to roll it up and zip tie it out of sight. Less wiring the better. Just an old stock 49. So the air tank, I've got to mount it up there. I had an AccuAir system up there which went bad, and unfortunately the holes are not going to be the same. But I've got to get it mounted, clean up the lines on that a little bit, figure out what I'm going to do in the trunk area with the carpet. But it's been a very long process. I've been building this car since 2017. The hurricane hit while it was on that lift, and fortunately it didn't get damaged. But 8 years on this project, which it's not a full-time project for me with my RA. There's probably been periods of more than a year where I didn't touch it. But I got a little bit done at a time. I did this entire harness project in basically 2 days, other than pulling the harness out of the donor vehicle. So pretty happy. It's pretty amazing what you can get done with a couple of days of hard work if you really, really work at it. Speaking of which, the roofers showed up. And, this is day 2 and they're done. They are literally putting the ridge cap on now and doing their final cleanup, and they should probably not be coming back. Pretty impressive what they did in just a couple days. Alrighty, I gotta head home, so I will try to update you guys again when I get this cleaned up back here. Maybe maybe 2 days, maybe 2 months. Never know. Catch you later.